Day by Day Kids Bible, Day 234, on Worship Day, Matthew 12, 1 through 14, Mark 2, 23 through 3:6, and Luke 6, 1 through 11. It was a worship day. Jesus and his friends walked through some wheat fields. His friends picked some of the wheat. They ate it because they were hungry. Some Jewish leaders saw them. They said, "You can't pick wheat on a worship day. It's against God's law." "Remember David and his friends?" asked Jesus. They were hungry. So David went into the worship house. He and his men ate some of the special bread. It was bread for the priests. "Maybe you remember reading the law," said Jesus. "It says that priests work on the worship day, and God doesn't blame them. But I say that someone here is greater than the worship house." "God's word says that he wants your kindness, not your gifts," said Jesus. "If you knew what that meant, you wouldn't be mad. We didn't do anything wrong. People were not made for the worship day. Instead, the worship day was made for people. I am Lord over the worship day." Another worship day came. Jesus went to the worship house. He began to teach there. There was a man in the worship house. His right hand was small and twisted. The leaders watched Jesus. They wanted to see what he would do. They wanted a reason to say Jesus did something wrong. At last they asked Jesus a question. "Is it right to make people well on the worship day?" Jesus said, "Let's say you have a sheep. It falls into a pit on worship day. Wouldn't you pull it out? A person is a lot more important than a sheep, so it is right to do something good on the worship day." Jesus looked at the man whose hand was small and twisted. "Stand up in front of everyone," said Jesus. Then Jesus turned to the people. "Should we do good or bad on the worship day? Should we save lives or kill on the worship day?" Nobody answered. The people were all quiet. Jesus looked around. He was very upset because their hearts were hard. They didn't care about God. Then Jesus looked at the sick man. "Hold out your hand," he said. So the man held his hand out. It reached out all the way now. It was well. But the people got very angry. They began talking to each other. They started planning to get even with Jesus. The leaders began to make plans to kill him. Crowds. Matthew 12, 15 through 21, Mark 3, 7 through 12. Jesus and his friends went to the lake. Many people from Galilee followed him. People came from across the Jordan River. People came from Tyre and Jerusalem and many other places. There was a huge crowd. Jesus had made many people well, so the sick people kept pushing towards him. They wanted to touch him. People controlled by bad spirits fell down before him. They called out, "You are God's son." But Jesus was very firm with them. He told them not to tell anyone who he was. That made the words of Isaiah come true. Long ago, Isaiah wrote, "Here is my servant, I chose him. He is the one I love. I'm happy with him. I'll put my spirit on him. He will tell all the nations what is right and fair. He won't fuss and fight. He won't cry out. People in the streets won't hear his voice." "A person who is sad is like a bent plant," wrote Isaiah. "My servant won't hurt bent plants. A person who is glad is like a glowing candle. My servant won't blow out glowing candles. My servant will stand up for what's right," wrote Isaiah. "He will win. The nations will hope in his name." Friends and helpers. Mark 3, 13 through 19, Luke 6, 12 through 19. Jesus went up on a mountain to pray. He spent all night there praying to God. In the morning, Jesus called his friends. He picked 12 of them to be his special friends and helpers. He chose Peter and his brother Andrew. He chose James and his brother John. He chose Philip and Nathanael. He chose Matthew, Thomas, and Simon. He chose another James, who was the son of Alphaeus. He chose Judas, whose father's name was James. Then Jesus chose another Judas, called Judas Iscariot. He turned out to be an enemy. Jesus took these men to a big flat place. A large crowd of his followers stood there. People had come from all over the place. They were there to listen to Jesus. Some people had come to be made well. People bothered by bad spirits were set free. Everyone tried to touch Jesus. Power was coming through him. He was making everyone well.